Southern Africa HIV/AIDS Information Dissemination Service, SAfAIDS, implemented the Changing the Rivers Flow program in Mozambique, Namibia, South Africa, Swaziland, and Zimbabwe over a 3-year period. The program aimed at addressing the interlinkages between culture, gender-based violence, women's rights, and HIV. SAfAIDS, through implementing partners, used a unique and culturally sensitive model that included active engagement of traditional leadership, capacity development of partners and community-based volunteers, community dialogues, media, and community galas to encourage interest and participation of communities. So what motivated SAfAIDS to implement such a project?
It was the failure of our existing responses to HIV. The figures for HIV in Africa were continuing to rise. The number of people dying of HIV were continuing to rise. And clearly it was showing us that there was something that we are not doing right. And therefore it got us to a point where we had to look at ourselves and look at the epidemic, and look at the epidemic as Africans in Africa, and trying to understand how different is this epidemic from the epidemic from Asia, from America, and all these other countries. And then what became very clear and stood out for us was the issue of the cultural practices.
Gender-based violence exists in many communities, though many people are not free to openly talk about it. Countries like Namibia and Zimbabwe, which have national statistics, show that 20 to 30% of women who have been married report having experienced violence from their partners. To add to that, women are often afraid to report violence to their families or the police, mainly because they have been failed by the justice system. Women also fear reporting abusive partners, as it is culturally and traditionally unacceptable, as this is said to lead to people knowing family secrets. The Changing the Rivers Flow program worked with the communities to identify all forms of gender-based violence and empowered women to report such cases. So what really changed?
The changes that I've seen in my community is I've seen lots and lots of people living together. Unlike before, there was fighting before.
In terms of gender-based violence, there's a reduction. And if I could just mention this one special case which is going on now, people have now realized that we are really serious about violence, and that we are kind of putting in our effort to kind of stop this kind of behavior. So basically they are now seeing it is serious, so they are reducing.
What I saw is that domestic violence has gone down quite a lot. There are far fewer cases, and not many women are reporting abuse from their husbands. Before the program was implemented in all the countries, abused women had nowhere to turn to. Those who had sought assistance from the police had not met any joy. The Changing the Rivers Flow program trained police officers on the interlinkages between gender-based violence and HIV and how this affects women. This changed the police's perspective when receiving gender-based violence cases from the community. So how did the program impact on the police and traditional leaders?
But what's been great about that is that the police now know that there are CBVs in the community. So when a CBV calls because there's been a case of gender-based violence, the police take it seriously.
People started reporting gender-based violence. People started talking openly about it because people were afraid to speak about such incidents. After the problem, people started coming out in a way of reporting to the police station, also sharing with other people.
People realize they come to know about what is gender. Before they even explained that, they didn't know that what is happening regarding to gender, they didn't know that it's violence. They thought it is a light thing, but now they open up their eyes, they think back, They come up with their idea, even if somebody see that somebody is violating her or do anything wrong to her, they are coming up front to discuss things in the workshop. Even other cases, they were reported to the police, to the clinic, and to the church leaders.
Sergeant Lakim Sibi from Swaziland was trained under CTRF and worked with communities to address gender-based violence cases.
A lot of gender-based cases were being reported, both from the male and female category. You would find that even the community police that have been trained would come and tell us that there is a problem, there is a gender-based case that is taking place at Mangwaneni, at Mbilaneni, at Lovunga. So the cases were just flowing, and we were able to go and trace those cases and help those people who were having those problems. So I would say that this program was of great help, especially to us, because we didn't know what was happening to the communities. And after this program, many people came to report these gender-based cases. But as we monitored the statistics, we felt that as time goes by, the cases were starting to decrease now. Because right now, I think I'm having a statistics of from February, March, April this year. We started with cases of about 30 cases that were reported. And in March, we had about 25 from the 3 areas. And right now in April, by end of April, we had about 22 cases. So you could tell that the cases are decreasing, not because maybe before there was a problem. It's just that the people are now starting to know that gender-based violence is not okay.
Dumisile Matabela is a beneficiary of the Changing the Rivers Flow program who experienced gender-based violence at the hands of her husband. Change happened when she received an invitation to attend a Changing the Rivers Flow workshop from SANEPA and Women in Law in Southern Africa, Swaziland.
I would make love to him even if I don't want to, even if I don't feel like, even with an STI. He made me feel like I'm just useless, hopeless, like I'm nothing on earth. And my life was so miserable. I even developed ulcers. Okay, because he was sleeping with me anyhow he likes. I even got sick, my uterus. I thought I had cancer, and I went for a pap smear at Flash Clinics. They said, no, you do not have cancer, but your vagina is severely inflamed. It's like you are being raped every day. I was invited to a workshop where the SANEPA was teaching us about our rights in the program Change the Rivers Flow and gender-based violence. Then from that day I knew that, oh, this is not supposed to be happening to me. It is not right. I can get help. I'm so thankful to SANEPA and SAfAIDS for the program, and wish very much that this may reach more other Swazi women, because we are suffering here. Although I have helped a few through my experience and what